All right, folks, welcome back to another video on living in Halifax. Today, we are doing a tour of the town of historic Lunenburg, Nova Scotia, a World UNESCO Heritage Site that was designated as such because I guess it's the best example of an old British colonial town. So we'll be going over it. That's the town behind me. I'm Tom Moore, and I post on this channel once a week. We're all about living in Halifax and the surrounding areas. We often get reached out to by people like you who are looking to move to Halifax and the surrounding areas from inside of Halifax, outside of the province, or even in some cases all around the world. So we're always looking forward to chatting with you, helping you figure out where to move and if Halifax is the right fit for you. But again, we're going to be taking a tour back here, Lunenburg. You're going to love it. It's a phenomenal little seaside town. So enjoy. All right, so let's talk about the amenities in Lunenburg. Now, Lunenburg, again, I've mentioned, it's a medium-sized town. So Bridgewater is kind of the big city nearby. It's about 20 minutes. They've got a Walmart and some larger department stores, things like that. Not department stores, sorry, hardware stores. Lunenburg is going to have everything you need here. They've got a grocery store, swimming pool, skating rink, a nice golf course literally right across the harbor, a couple marinas, and obviously, you know, all of your everyday daily needs. Now, it has an abundance in terms of kind of mom and pop shops, whether it's vintage stuff, great little restaurants, and then, you know, just your basics that you'd need every banking, all that kind of stuff. So the other thing that Lunenburg also has is it's got a great kind of biking culture. So a lot of people that move here during the summers in the city, there's a ton of great, I guess, roads that you can access these peninsulas, islands, beaches, all very close to Lunenburg. So people really like to get outside here and access some of those outdoor amenities, whether it's beaches, getting in the boat, going for a drive, or taking the bike out. So again, Lunenburg, if you're looking for those bigger things, if they do have the hospital here, the Fisherman's Memorial Hospital for the bigger stuff, you're gonna need to go into Halifax, which is probably an hour and 20 minutes on the highway. And if you need something like Costco or big box stores, maybe Best Buy or something like that, then it's probably about a 40-minute drive into Bears Lake, which is right outside of Halifax as well. This has got to be one of the older Bank of Montreal's around. Looks like the Harry Potter Bank of Montreal. But again, that just kind of goes to show you how historic this city is. A lot of these buildings are really, really old. In Lunenburg, you're going to find a couple of small businesses that employ people. There's a lot of inns, a lot of smaller scale marine manufacturing, things like that. You've got a great little, it's called the Ironworks Distillery. So, but it's got a pretty heavy fishing presence. There's a big fish plant down that way. And then you've got a lot of kind of seasonal stuff like restaurants, or even like some of those small mom and pop shops that would obviously shut down. But then you've got a lot of maritime industry here that also kind of fills that employment void, I guess, and it honestly gives the downtown or this area a really cool woodsy smell, like you'd smell on old railway tracks, stuff like that. All right, here we are kind of on the left-hand side of the wharf. Lots of ships or boats, I guess, mostly pleasure craft. Right there ahead of me, this is the Lunenburg Golf Club. So as you can imagine, that's got some spectacular views back into Lunenburg. And then this is the Lunenburg Outfitting House. So right over there on the other side of this big red building, which we'll put some footage in, is kind of the downtown Lunenburg. That's where I shot the intro to this. And then the rest of Lunenburg is kind of all up on this big hill up back there. So here's kind of the downtown strip of Lunenburg. It goes kind of up on this hill to the back that you can't see, but a lot of the town is situated on this hill. And yeah, home to some beautiful, colorful buildings all throughout. Here's another look at the, I guess, right-hand side of Lunenburg. You can see the big fish plant in the distance, Highliner Foods. And there's a good mixture of sailing boats, fishing boats, and pleasure craft down that way. And Lunenburg obviously is known for its fishery. And this is a big museum they have down here covering kind of the fisheries industry over the years in Nova Scotia. Cool. Little part of the museum. Here's another shot of the Blue Nose. Nice piece of art. All right, let's talk about housing in Lunenburg. Now, briefly before we start, I want to point out this cool thing. You see, this is called the Lunenburg bump. And it's, I think, actually a unique thing around the world, but a lot of the times you'll see it above kind of doorways, but in certain cases, it'll literally just hang off the side of the house like that. And again, it's kind of, people nowadays have turned it into like a reading nook or a little nap room or something like that. But when coming back to housing in Lunenburg, you've got a lot of different options. This is an incredibly historical city. And one of the really cool things about this place is that a lot of the houses are very uniquely colored. So you're going to find a lot of vibrant colors, but you're also going to find a pretty significant difference in a lot of the homes. A lot of the homes in the town of Lunenburg itself tend to be quite historic and old. It's a UNESCO heritage site. There's not too much in terms of change going on, but you're going to find some large cabin houses and some smaller houses like that red one behind me versus some of these other ones down the street over there, right? So the keys is everything's going to be very old, very kind of historic, and have realistically a really good amount of character. But when you get to the outskirts of Lunenburg, you're going to find that over the years, people have kind of bought different houses or different plots of land and put their own houses. If they've got a dream house in mind, they've put their own spin on things. But the prices are going to vary pretty significantly in Lunenburg, depending on what type of house you're looking for. If you're looking for something built in the 70s, 80s, or 90s, it's going to be much cheaper than either a super historical house that's been completely updated or something that's maybe on the outskirts of town that has beautiful water views, a lot of land. The name of the game here, though, is that you're about an hour and 20 minutes away from Halifax, so it's kind of on the outskirts of that commutability. So you should be able to save some money if you were to take a direct comparison of a house in Lunenburg and compare it to something closer to the city. Okay, so when it comes to the vibe of Lunenburg, this is a quintessential artsy town. It's one of the larger spots on the South Shore, but Bridgewater, which is probably about a 15-20 minute drive, would be its kind of bigger brother. But basically Lunenburg throughout the year, this is a similar spot to many South Shore towns where it's very touristy. Obviously, it's got the UNESCO heritage designation. So in the summertime, in the fall, and in the spring, it seems a massive uptake in both the population that lives here to service a lot of these little shops, restaurants, everything else that really get kicking in the summer. And in the wintertime, it tends to be a bit of a smaller population. These are locals that live here year-round. They may be fishermen. They may be doing something in Bridgewater or in Lunenburg in terms of employment. But generally, Lunenburg is going to be a quiet. It's been described to me by some of my more hip friends as like a wavy town. It's just very laid back. Obviously, you're right by the ocean here. People like to kind of get out, bike ride, be in the boats. And it's a very kind of colorful South Shore town with a lot of kind of cool mom and pop shops. And again, the town's got everything you need. So that's basically the vibe of Lunenburg, is laid back. So right on this corner here, which is one of the obviously many corners of Lunenburg, is we got several art galleries. We got one there. Nice little kind of down-home living store. Another one similar to that right here, Jenny's Jib, which is like antiques and living. And you've got a ton of those, basically all down kind of the three main streets that run parallel, whether it's art, vintage, thrift stuff, or, I guess cute home living, as Jackie, my fiance, would call it. So, you're gonna find a lot of these, and they're all very unique mom and pop shops, right? So kind of cool. Here's the old Lunenburg Town Hall. Nice little church in behind there. And again, there's a lot of churches scattered throughout Lunenburg. Very historic town. Don't know what the church-going population is here nowadays, but I'm sure there's still a good chunk. It's an older town, right? And then this little bandstand here, which we're in kind of the center of town in the summer, has concerts every Saturday, which is kind of cool. Get a nice little view of the Lunenburg Golf Club in the distance, and right in the town square. All right, folks, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Living in Halifax with the Neighborhood Spotlight, focusing on Lunenburg, Nova Scotia. We've got those famous red buildings in the background and a cool old wooden ship as well. Fun fact, the Canadian dime, which is our 10-cent money piece, actually has the blue nose, which is from Lunenburg, on it. So anyways, quick fact there. But once again, I'm Tom Moore. I work with RE/MAX, and if you're planning on making a move here to Halifax, feel free to reach out and be sure to subscribe. We come out with a new video on living in Halifax every single week. Other than that, have a great day.